Of our voter education project presented by the African American clergy of Anne Arundel County. Tonight, we dive into Project 2025 and Christian nationalism. Understand the profound impact your vote has in shaping our future. Thank you for participating in tonight's conversation.
Good evening. I'm Pastor Stephen Tillett from Asbury Broadneck United Methodist Church. Welcome, and we thank you for joining us for this hour to expand your knowledge on this election, this very significant election season that we are in the midst of. The African American Clergy Voter Education Project was established to make sure that our community can do our Black job, that we have been well informed on all of the issues that are pertinent to us. The background story. This will be an opportunity for you to ask some questions, get some answers to some things. And when you do, you will be an informed voter and you can share the information that you have with others. Information is power. Our votes are our power. And it's time for us to make a decision to get into good trouble together using our power so that we can protect ourselves and our families and our communities and our future. Our guest for this evening is Janice Jones Oden, but before we bring her up, she's going to be leading us in a discussion of Project 2025, and then after some question and answer, there will be Pastor Karen Johnson who will be talking to us about white so-called Christian nationalism. But just understand that this is being broadcast, simulcast really, to platforms on each of our various social media platforms, especially Facebook Live and some others. And so if you are connected to any of the ministries that are participating in this, you can just go to those pages and get connected right there. I also want to mention a couple of other things, that this broadcast, sorry, my notes just went crazy here. There will be an opportunity for those of you who are participating to drop some questions. And if you have some questions or comments, you can put them in the chat. And then those that are monitoring the things that you put in can raise those that are especially pertinent to us, so we can raise it during the course of the broadcast. But right now, there is a video that has been put together. For those of you who are of a certain age, you might remember years and years ago, an animated production about how a bill becomes a law. And so it goes through that process. Well, this production, this animation shows how Project 2025 is envisioned, what they hope will happen as a result of it. And while it's meant to be humorous, it's one of those things where if it weren't so serious, it might be funny. Let's roll the tape.
Hey there, who are you?
Oh, just the most important document in our country's history.
You mean the Constitution?
Nope.
The Declaration of Independence?
Yes, again.
The Federalist
The
Papers?
Federalist, what? No, even more important than whatever you just said. Now sit right here and I'll tell you all about me. I'm just a little paper for the ages, a way to set the government straight. A short 887 pages on how to make America great again by forcing through the president's agenda, removing all of those who disagree, replacing with our loyal party members, and reclaim our great country. In sum, give power to the president to authorize the government to legislate morality and wrestle back normality from Marxist ideologies that infiltrate our policies like gender, race, or anything woke. We're gonna abolish the Department of Education, turn the swearing in into a coronation. America's great salvation will arrive with Project 2025.
Coronation? You mean like a king?
No, it's called the unitary executive theory. Gives the next president unchecked power to do whatever they want.
So, a king?
Oh, let's not get hung up on semantics. Here's how it's gonna work. Once that we've started the transition, and no one's left to tell us to wait, we'll go through every policy position, get rid of all the language that we hate, like civil rights, diversity, and unions, and pronouns to mention but a few, defunding any liberal institutions that dare question what we do.
I'm pretty sure the Supreme Court...
Oh, the Supreme Court. That's a good one. Now, where was I? Abortion will be pretty much illegal, and reproductive rights will be gone. We'll get back to the biblical ideal that a family means a daddy and a mom with kids. Repeal the crazy climate regulations that get in the economy's way, with everyone reporting to their stations on Inauguration Day. When we give power to the president to authorize the government to legislate morality, expelling abnormality like godless ideologies, protecting inequalities like gender, race, and anything woke. We're gonna abolish the Department of Education, convert the melting pot into a Christian nation. The stage is set and we'll be going live in 2025.
I can't seriously say all that.
Wanna bet? Come on, let's crack me open.
Page 124.
Make more nuclear weapons.
Page 257.
End the war on fossil fuels.
Page 214.
No more gun violence protection.
Page 298.
Or feeding hungry kids at our schools.
Turn to page
Ban
5.
offensive books from the classroom.
563.
Make it hard to register to vote.
Page 449.
Dismantle Medicare.
534.
Kill off the grizzly
Page
bear.
4.
Delete the term sexual orientation, gender equality, awareness of sensitivity, diversity, equity, inclusion, abortion, reproductive health, and reproductive rights out of every rule, regulation, contract, grant, and piece of federal legislation that exists. And that's an actual quote. And that, my friend, is only the beginning of how this makes America great. You'll be so overwhelmed with all the winning that you won't know what you've lost till it's too...
Wait! This doesn't sound great at all.
No?
No, it sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Well, I guess if you wanted to, there's still some things you can do to stop it.
Like what?
Well, if you vote to save democracy and stand against autocracy and tell your friends and family, enough with this insanity. We fought too long to part with these essential civil liberties like privacy and equity and bodily autonomy and what defines a family, equality and empathy. And we're not going back, and maybe we can stop this radical abomination. The future all depends on your participation. That's the way democracy will thrive. America was made for you and me, so let's defend our freedom and our dignity. Now raise your voice and let's keep hope alive in 2025. Now vote!
Wow, what a video. What a time in this country. Thank you so much, the African American clergy, for the opportunity to share such important information with voters. My name is Janice Jones Oden. I serve on the Anne Arundel County Democratic Central Committee, and a part of my capacity is getting out the vote. I serve as the Get Out the Vote chair. And one of the things I want to do in the short amount of time I have tonight is truly just share information that will, one, dispel myths, but also to empower people to get out the vote. So you may be watching this and you say, hey, this is so intriguing. This information is changing the way that you see this whole election. Make sure that you share this with friends and family. Be an ambassador for change. And so tonight I'll be talking about Project 2025. And so as the slides come up, we'll go through over the next 15 minutes or so some of the key tenets of this particular Project 2025. So whenever you all are ready, please feel free to put those slides. So what is Project 2025? It is a far-right blueprint for leadership. For those who don't know much about it, it is actually 900 pages and 30 chapters, okay? And it actually dates back to 1973. That's when the Heritage Foundation, you can go to the next slide. That's when the Heritage Foundation, which is a very powerful the next slide, a very powerful conservative think tank was founded in DC. And so they are actually the writers of this. So people are thinking that this is something that just came about, when in actuality, these conservative sort of thought processes have been going back to the founding of the Heritage Foundation in 1973. So really their main goal is to move America to a more far-right, conservative, nationalist state, and really to reduce the impact of federal government. And as you see in this picture here, we see Ronald Reagan. It came to prominence in 1981, and they called it the Mandate for Leadership. And some of those very policies that they put forth were used in the Reagan administration. Around 60% of the 2,000, there were 2,000 proposals, friends, around 60% of that they used. And so we are certainly concerned, because we know that Donald Trump in 2016, he was actually able to do 64% of those proposals. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But it's concerning because essentially what you have to know about the Heritage Foundation is they are, every election cycle, they put forth a series of proposals. So if a GOP, a Republican president is elected, they have what is called a playbook, all right? And so I'm going to be talking about that playbook now. You can just stay on this slide for a second. So you can stay on you can stay there. Thank you. So who are the writers of this document? It is actually professors, scientists, doctors. These are people who are scholars in their field, scholars in their subject. And there actually is 4 pillars that I'll run through very quickly. The first of those 4 pillars is what we call policy development. Okay, it's known as the conservative promise. All right, and essentially this policy development provides conservative solutions and recommendations for federal agencies. Then we move on to talk about personnel recruitment. Now we all know about LinkedIn. Well, essentially they are creating a conservative database for Donald Trump loyalists. It's very similar to LinkedIn. So that's something that is very notable within the 4 pillars. They also have a training arm. And then the training arm, they call that the Presidential Administrative Academy. It's where they teach conservative values. They have workshops and seminars, online courses. They even have mentors and mentorship for people who are interested in becoming more of a conservative-minded leader. And then a 180-day playbook. Now, this is important because the goal is in the first 180 days to implement Project 2025, the first 6 months of an administration, so they can swiftly reverse any policies that have been in place. And so currently, Project 2025 has over 100 conservative organizations supporting them, and individuals, many of whom were in the previous Trump administration. So you can go to the next slide.